Do you know you could have kidney disease and not even know it? 9 out of 10 people who have stage 3 chronic kidney disease do not know it. The rate of kidney failure for African Americans is 3 times higher than among Caucasians. And one reason for this is that they are not aware when they have earlier stages of kidney disease. At a time, treatment could prevent the damage from progressing to the point when dialysis or kidney transplantation is necessary. In addition, due to high rates of diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease, Blacks and African Americans have an increased risk of developing kidney failure. African Americans need to be aware of these risk factors and visit their doctor or clinic regularly to check their blood sugar, blood pressure, urine protein, and kidney function. Be aware. Get tested. The life you save may be your own. For more information, contact urbankidneyalliance.org.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is.
Hello. What number do you want? Okay. The extension for the dialysis. That's the dialysis 3 times a week. Extension 347. No, you don't want that one. Okay, so all right. You want the transplant for? 679 is the transplant for. If you want dialysis or you have bad kidney, oh girl, you need that. A transplant for. You can get a transplant. Yes, of course, of course. Oh no, you want home dialysis? No, that's 57777. That's that extension. Or you going to do it at home? You think you can do it at home? You brave enough to do it at home? Get out of here. What? The peritoneal with the stomach thing? Or the other thing, the hemo with the machine thing? Or that next stage thing with the other little machine you tote around? Well, I don't know what for you want. You called me. I didn't call you. Well, I can stick. Listen, there's support groups out there for that dialysis, for that kidney stuff and everything. You just need a support. Look, I have a support group because I talk too much, right? And I have a support group because I talk too loud. I didn't think I talked that loud to you, did I? But anyway, you can get a support group for this thing, you know? Or call that woman, or text that woman, or get in touch with that woman, that Lisa, Lele, Lakala. Lisa Baxter, right? Yes. Yeah. You know her too? Well, if you didn't know her, I wanted you to know her. Yeah, because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in a kidney world. Hi, guys. Happy Sunday, and how are you? I hope everything is wonderful and fine. There you are. Listen, remember I was telling you about those 10 masks in a pack kind of thing? I don't know what kind of mask you got or what kind of glove, but get yourself together when it comes out there for that COVID. All right, wrap up, put it together, sanitize, do your thing, wash your hands. Is these cute colors or what? Look at that, the hot pink, the orange, right? And they had the green, and I showed you the purple last week. I got them all. You got to be careful. Trying to keep Hannah right? You know that's what I call my kidney. Well, I got a wonderful, great show for you tonight. Yes, I do. This guy is fantastic. He's sweet. He's fabulous. All right. He's with the ESRD network, right? He's on the board. He's a co-chair person. He's on the committee, right? He's a rep. He's with the Transplant, part of for Manhattan. All right. He does a little bit of this and that. He worked hard and he got his bachelor's while on dialysis. So let me introduce Nelson Nunez. Woohoo! Cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to you for all the wonderful and great things you are doing at the ESRD network and even just being a wonderful person.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, well, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. You have a beautiful and an interesting story, and we're going to ride this thing in, okay? And what I would say is, what was you doing before you knew about your kidney situation?
Oh, I was actually in college. I went to college a little late. I think I was 24 when I started college. The first time, I should mention the first time. So I was a junior and I was 26, up to 27, and I started having issues, kind of like sleeping too much, always tired, didn't just feel right at all. So first I got diagnosed with the diabetes, and then 6 months later, roughly, yeah, because I got diagnosed in February, and then 6 months later I got diagnosed with the kidney failure, and I was really surprised. It was not something I was expecting. So it took me by surprise, and I was actually in Springfield, Missouri at the time. So I had to end up packing everything and moving back to New York, move back with my parents. I didn't have insurance at the time, so that's probably why it went so long without being diagnosed, because I wasn't having regular checkups, and not having insurance and being a college student. The cost was so prohibitive that I couldn't afford it. So yeah, I came back, and that was in 1999. So thanks to some great doctors, they put me on a whole bunch of meds and a strict diet, and I was actually able to stay off dialysis for about 7 years to 2006. Yeah.
Wow. Now that's what I'm talking about. I mean, first of all, you didn't have any warning about your illness, because sometimes, when a person finds out, sometimes they have a little bit of time to like work with it or fix it, and then sometimes they just lay the boom on you, and you just got to start next week or the same day, God forbid, or So I'm glad you were able to have a good team of doctors, because everybody don't get a good team. Everybody don't have parents. I'm glad you were able to move back in with your parents. Some people, they love you and they will work with you and take you in, parents or anybody in the family. And then you got sometimes you don't have anything, but I'm glad you had that type of support. When you got the news and you were shocked, what was the first thing that came to your head? And they said, oh, you need dialysis, or your kidneys are failing, or you had to, because I know you said diabetes, right?
Yes. There was more questions than answers, because the doctor suspected that I needed dialysis, but first told me I had to go and see a nephrologist. But the issue was that I didn't have medical insurance, so he referred me to in Springfield, the local cities. I went and applied for Medicaid, but I was denied, which shocked me. Being from New York, uh, I didn't realize that states differ that much. So one of the reasons why I moved back to New York was because I couldn't get health insurance, so I didn't have any options in Missouri. So I had to move back to New York, hoping that I would qualify here, which I suspected that I would, because before I left here, I had Medicaid when I was growing up. So it basically, I had more questions than answers in the beginning and stuff. So it was a very confusing time, those couple of months there.
Well, I made $1 over and they wouldn't give me the Medicaid, and I'm in New York. I live in New York. I'm from New York,
Yes.
so it can happen to anybody. And I'm sure some people looking had their issues with insurance. You know, I have plenty of fights with them. But okay, so you what did you do about the diabetes, and maybe I should give you so many questions at the same time. Good. What did you do about your diabetes? We'll start with that, and then I'll go with the next thing.
Well, it was 6 months before that I found out. It was the beginning of 1999 when I found out I was diabetic. So the doctor put me on a very strict diet and started me on pills. And that seemed to work a little bit, but it didn't resolve the fatigue issues that I was having, the lack of focus. I was having some difficulties in school because I found that I would reread the same chapter, or not the same chapter, the same paragraph, because I just wasn't sinking in. So I continued to have the focus issues and stuff like that. So besides going to school, I also had a part-time job. I was trying to learn how to deal with the diabetes and learn how to, most college students don't have a healthy diet. We tend to buy cheaper foods that may not be as healthy. I never did the ramen. I knew some guys who did the ramen diet. I couldn't do that. That was just, yeah. But, things like that, it was, I took a class, which was very beneficial. I did have to pay out of pocket for it, but I thought it was a great investment to pay for it. I learned so much in those 2 days from that nurse educator. There are a lot of people out there that can be a great asset and really want to teach if you're willing to listen and learn.
That's so true. That's so true. The wealth of people out there, But I mean, okay, so you learn something, so that's good. That's a key thing. You have to be educated about your illness and whatever you're dealing with, and even the side effects of medication. So, all right, so you dealt with your diabetes, and now he said he kept you off dialysis for 7 years. What was that like? What did he do?
Well, that was the New York doctor. That was Dr. Miller. Yeah, I really expected to come in and be told that I had to start dialysis. My uncle was already on dialysis, so I knew that if it could possibly run in the family, well, my uncle and my aunt, I believe. And it turns out Dr. Miller was also my uncle's doctor, which I didn't know when I went to see him. So he was surprised. There was a suspicion that it might be something genetic, but when they ran some tests, they didn't find anything genetic. So yeah, he was a great doctor. They put me on a whole bunch of medications. I must have been taking, I don't know, 20 pills a day or something. Well, in the morning, 20 pills in the morning. And the diet was kind of strict, but not too bad. I just try to listen and to follow directions. I really didn't want to start dialysis in my 20s. That was not one of my goals. So I was really hoping that he kept telling me, just do what he says. We'll work together, and it really paid off.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. It's beautiful when something is worth doing and you do it and it pays off. You get something out of it or you learn something from it. So how many years did you do dialysis when you were doing dialysis?
It's about 6 years, from 2006 to 2012. I started dialysis Friday, September 13th. So Friday the 13th, I started my dialysis. I only remember it
the
because
date.
the
Me
nurse,
too.
yeah, the nurse made a big deal about it starting on the 13th, Friday the 13th. 2006, and then I got the transplant March 1st, 2012.
Wow.
Mm.
So did you have any health issues or problems on dialysis? What was it like while you was doing that journey of dialysis?
Yeah, the first the first 2 years weren't. I don't recall having any issues, but by the third year, I started having a slightly enlarged heart, which happens in dialysis because of the constant removing fluid and adding on. It's kind of like a rubber band effect on the heart. The back and forth is the heart starts to lose elasticity, and it starts to remain a little larger than what it should be. So they did diagnose me with level 1 or class 1 enlargement of the heart. That's when I started looking at because at the time I was doing 5 hours of dialysis. I think it was me and another patient that were doing 5 hours. I never heard anybody else do 5 hours except for that one patient. And it was because of my size. At the time, I had to be like 450 or something, or 430 pounds at the time. So I was really big and carried a lot of fluid on me. So yeah, that was the first indication. I did have a little bit of issue with phosphorus. The binders never settled well on my stomach. I always had either a rock hard stomach, or I had some nausea, upset, things like that. So shortly after that, I started looking into other. I couldn't do peritoneal because of my size. My doctor told me because of my size, I would never get enough volume to do a proper treatment. So I ended up looking into home hemo after that. And about 3.5 years or so into it, that's when I changed to home hemo.
Well, how was that experience with home hemo? Because you went to the center, and I don't know how you felt about being in the center as opposed to doing at home.
The center has, negatives and positive, and the same thing with home. In the center, you're kind of part of a small family community. You see people enough times, you get to know them and stuff. At home, you're kind of isolated. You're by yourself. You don't really see those people, so you kind of lose contact with them a little bit. But at home, I found it was better because I can do it at a slower. Since I was doing dialysis more often, I was doing 5 days a week. I could do it at a slower level and the pump level, so I didn't have to stress my heart out, and it gave my heart a break. And then shortly after that, I ended up switching to overnight. So I ended up, instead of trying to pull off 3 kilos in 4 hours, I was pulling 3 kilos in 8 hours, so I can pull slower over time. So it was an easier adjustment for my body to have that move slower instead of so quickly.
I'm proud of the fact that you were willing to try different things, for your body. You knew what was going on. You knew about the diabetes. You was doing something about that. You heard about the enlargement of the heart. You was doing something about that. You sought out a nephrologist, ended up knowing somebody that knew your family, and you even found out that it wasn't hereditary. So that means you did your research and your homework. I'm proud of you. You did that. You know what I mean? So, wow. So you get the call, ring, 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 bam, you got a kidney. What happened?
Oh, I was actually on dialysis. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and for some reason, I just couldn't shut down. I couldn't sleep. So I was wide awake when they called me. And at first, I was like, this is probably the third call that I got for a transplant. The first two were heavy drug users, and I was kind of worried with the sharing of needles and things. The there's more chances of the kidney having HIV or something. And since the testing methods, at least I don't know about now, back then, testing would take like a week before it would show up. Then there's no way they're gonna sustain a kidney for a week, outside the body. So this is the third one. It was I was told it was a woman, 49. She had a history of high blood pressure, but only for a few years before that. So I thought like this sounded like a good kidney. So I told them yes, and I ended my treatment, and I was in the hospital like an hour and a half later, like at 4 or 5 a.m. And they prepped me and everything. And I'm pretty sure there was somebody else there because they usually have one or two backups. So I don't know who the other person was, but they drew all the blood tests on me just to make sure that there was no issues, because they won't do a surgery without doing all of that. And yeah, the next thing I knew, I woke up and I was told I had a kidney in me.
Wow, look at that. That's all right. Where did you go? I was at Mount Sinai when I did mine.
Well, I was at New York Presbyterian here at 168.
Excellent hospital also.
Yes.
Excellent. So you was in good hands also.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's good. Good. Great hospital. Yeah.
How long have you had the transplant?
Oh, so technically, I still have the transplant, but it stopped working in 2017. It turned out not to be a good transplant, unfortunately. I was originally told that I'd be in the hospital like 3 or 4 days. I was in the hospital for 8 days. The transplant just would not start functioning for some reason. The doctors kept calling it a sleepy transplant or
Yeah.
sleepy kidney.
Yeah.
So yeah, they ended up having to do dialysis on me during my stay, and eventually it woke up enough that it was functioning, but I never got down to the numbers they wanted me to get down or they were hoping for. So I think I was always stuck like on borderline stage 2, stage 3 and stuff. So, but transplants are like that. You never know how the transplant's going to acclimate to your body, how it's going to handle the transition. Things happen. There are no guarantees. And I had a bad experience with my transplant, and I still went ahead and signed up again for another transplant on the list again. I am just because what's the alternative? I don't want to live my life on dialysis. So I'm hoping if I get another transplant, this one will be a better one. Yeah.
We're praying and hoping that that's a better one for you as well, because things can be touch and go and so much stuff and so many side effects. Did you experience any side effects or issues with the medications? I was taking like 19 pills in the morning, 16 at night. I'm 4 in the morning, 2 at
Oh
night
yeah.
now. So it's 4 years in.
Yeah. The unfortunately, my diabetes got a lot worse. Um, I didn't know. I knew that it would affect your blood sugars, but I didn't realize before starting that the medication actually prevents your body from what's the word? It's not metabolizing, but something like that. That your simple blood sugars, so they stay in the body longer, and it's harder for the body to get rid of it and stuff. So that was the first thing, was the blood sugar. But my biggest thing was a month after I got the transplant, I got a CMV infection. And it turned out that the person had CMV. I didn't, so I caught it through a transplant. And medications, they kept, what's that medication? I forgot what it was called.
Cell. What you mean,
It,
one of the anti-rejection ones?
yes, but
The
not
cell
the,
sap, the cell sap, and you think I would know that? I take them every day. But cell
it,
sap was one. It's just losing it tonight. But
it was the cousin to the Celsep. I forget the name of it now.
oh,
Encyclovir was the generic name, I think. Something
okay.
like that.
The generic
Yeah.
brand. Oh, okay.
Encyclovir. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but yeah. So
Mr. Belcher.
they kept doubling it to the point where I was taking 4 times the recommended dosage for the medication. So after 3 or 4 months, that was in April. So by August, they had me in the hospital. They put a PICC line in me, and they had me start infusions because of the CMV was just out of control. So, which I wasn't crazy about because the medication does damage to the kidneys. So I was like frustrated because I'm like, I waited so long for this kidney, but now I'm doing damage to it by taking this infusion. But what choice do you have? The body comes before the transplant. So yeah, they ended up, once they heard that I did home hemo for so long, they were like, "Oh, you don't have," because the infusion is every day. So they were like, "No, we're gonna send you home." They sent me home with an infusion pump. They send the liquid infusion in packs to my house. So every day I was doing infusions for, I think it was 45 minutes or so. Then I did that from February all the way till December of 2006.
Wow.
So I felt like I changed out one machine. I was in the next stage at that time. I changed out one machine for another, much smaller machine, but I was still tied to this machine. And then I had this PICC line always sticking out because it wasn't like the fistula. I could just stick needles and pull them. I always had that. It was like a constant reminder that I was there.
Wow, wow. Well, I guess all of this must have made you get involved with ESRD Network. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I became involved with the ESD in 2007. My center approached me, the administrator, about being a pack rep, and I was surprised. I was only there for like 2 months, I think, maybe even less. So I was telling her, there's got to be people here that are been here longer that would be a better choice. And she kind of talked me into it. She was saying that she thought I had the right attitude and the right demeanor, and that I would, be a good choice. So I was like, well, I've been looking for something to do because by that time I was feeling a little better after being on dialysis for I think about 7 months at that time. So I thought, I'm always I volunteered before in other church ministries and things like that. So I was like, maybe I should look into it. So I did, and I accepted. So that's when I became a pack rep. And so mostly I worked with mostly I worked with my center. And then I think it was 2 years later, 2009, 2010, when I became what's it called? The chairman for Manhattan. One of the chairmen retired, so they had me. They approached me a couple of times, and at first I was kind of like, I don't know, I don't really feel comfortable talking in front of a large groups. Like this 1-to-1 is kind of fine for me, but large groups is a little intimidating. But after they talked to me a couple of times, I was like, yeah, sure. I became co-chairman, but I saw myself more as the vice chairman, and Larry Wilson is my other co-chairman with me. I see him more as a senior. He has a lot more experience with him, so I try to learn from him and follow his guidance.
The ESRD network is wonderful. I love working with them, and when we have our meetings and stuff like that, dealing with transplants and SME and everything like that, the subject matter, experts and things like that. It's just a fabulous thing. I just wish more people knew about it and more people would get involved in it. If you can encourage anybody out there, hi Richard Knight. He's a sweetheart. What would you say to somebody out there that maybe they're waiting for a transplant, maybe they went the same route you went, maybe they're experiencing the same things you went? What would you say or do to encourage them?
Definitely seek out others in your situation. Like one of my biggest assets, besides my family is great. They put up with me. They still help me out. I still live with my sister. She was my care partner. Without her, I couldn't do right now home hemo. So family is very important, and it doesn't have to be blood family. If you have close personal friends that you consider family, that can be your family. And another asset that I really, really push for is I go, I don't go now because of COVID, but still once a week, there's a mental illness group that I go to that I see more as a support group because everyone in the group has medical issues. So we all hang on each other. Like sometimes I may not be strong and somebody else may be strong. So they help me out, and other times I can be strong and they may need, just to vent and to let out. So once a week for about an hour and a half, I go on there and we talk about our struggles and also our successes, things that are going on that are good. We try to be there for each other because really only someone who is going through something similar like that you're going through, whether it's cancer and they're having the infusions, or there's people in the group that have MS and lupus and their bodies are having issues and stuff, they can really understand the struggle that you're going through. And having that, not feeling alone, that you're in this battle by yourself, can have great benefits to your mental health. Yeah.
Excellent. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to out there? Somebody that you respect, somebody that you care about, love, anybody out there you just want to give a shout out, you want to thank them? Get my paper.
I'll give a shout out to the Raw Rangers ministry. I'm actually wearing. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on, let me see if I can move this down a little bit. I'm actually wearing this shirt here.
Nice.
So it's Raw Ranger Ministries. This my brother gave me this shirt. Well, my sister I think bought it from my brother. He made the shirt for the Raw Ranger Ministries. They were an integral part of my youth. They helped me stay off the street. They helped me try to live a clean life. You know, try to be good. And I credit a lot to them. Because a lot of my friends ended up in jail and stuff. It was very common in my neighborhood for everybody to be selling drugs and stuff. So being in the church and being in the ministry really helped me stay clear of that path. And I really feel like if I didn't have them, I wouldn't. I would probably be in jail or something now. But I also feel like having that preparation also prepared me to be a great patient or a good patient, because I don't think I'm a great patient. But trying to take care of myself, trying to look for alternatives, trying to always seek out a better treatment, you know, something to give me a better quality of life, you know.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad you got your loved ones and your people out there, because we all need it.
Yes.
Well, is there anything we forgot? I'm about to end the show, and I didn't want to forget anything or anything you might want to add or take away. You did a fantabulous job. I ain't mad at you, Shando.
Oh, if you can sign up to be a donor, you know, once you're dead, whether you believe in God or Allah, He doesn't need your body, so leave the parts here for us, you know.
Beautiful. That's right. I'm a donor. If anything happened to me, that don't mean nobody's gonna kill me. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, I didn't know that as a patient I could be a donor. I thought because as a patient my body would have too much damage, I guess, from the illnesses. So I didn't realize that I could be a donor. I just learned that a few years ago. So I signed up because I figured somebody could take my eyes. Hey, if they can use my eyes,
they might still be blind with my eyes, but I still donated that. The liver is good. The heart is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The skin. You know, whatever you can do. Yeah, I want somebody to live on and live well. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not that we're trying to go nowhere, but I do thank you. You are a true warrior, and a sweet warrior at that. And you do your thing at ESRD Network, and even living by an example, home or in your center. And I say thank you very much for being on this show. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for taking this forum to spread this message. It's very important.
You're so welcome. You have an excellent night, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'll see you at the next meeting, yeah? Or virtually.
Yes, virtually. Thank you.
God bless.
God bless. Bye.
Guys, listen here. You have heard it, and you've seen it, and you've listened to it. Sweet fellow. All right? So listen, our tip for today for resources is the ESRD Network, 800-238-3773. That's for that. For the AAKP, 800-749-2257. All right. So I'll probably put it in the messages and stuff too. Y'all be good. Help us to go viral. Share us. Like us. I never say that, but I want y'all to start doing that. Love, hugs, kisses. Peace. Good night. Bye.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah. My girl, and say, this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is